In this video, we'll be looking at the full clear of Stormwind, Horrific Vision of Stormwind on my Destruction spec Warlock, and talking about the latest information revealed by Blizzard about the Torghast Tower of the Damned. Stick around. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, Gyro here. Time for another Horrific Vision full clear run on my casually geared alt. This time it is my Destruction Warlock, Destro. As you can see, I do not have Gift of the Titans. I'm demonstrating my talents. Item level is only 447 and Cloak is rank 12. I'm quickly demonstrating to you my Destruction spec talents, and I will say a couple of words about the run itself, what to look out for as the action is happening in the background. And we will switch to the secondary kind of topic of this video to make your viewing of this run a little bit more exciting and entertaining. We will discuss the new blog post that was just revealed by Blizzard today or yesterday about Torghast. Yes, I know, I just published a video where we were speculating about Torghast based on what Wowhead has revealed, based on what variables were found in the data mining, in the files, in the game files. But now Blizzard has revealed some official information, a few points that will add to our speculation and that will add to the picture of Torghast as we're trying to anticipate what it's really gonna be like, what is there for us. Before we go though, back to obviously the background footage here, a few words about my full clear run of Destro. I introduced, I think, my Warlock, my Demonology Warlock to you early on in this channel. I think I published one video early on when I barely did a two-chest clear of something like Ogrimmar, which was easier, obviously, and my Cloak wasn't ranked up back then. My Mother's Archives talents haven't been ranked up particularly well, and now all I'm missing from the full picture is the Gift of the Titans, which is certainly a big gaping hole. That is without a doubt. I was playing with Demonology for a while, and I like how Demonology feels. I like the fantasy of Demonology more than I like any other spec of Warlock. But at the same time, I wasn't able to achieve sufficient amount of DPS with my skill level, with my gear, that would allow me to confidently beat the timers, well, virtual timers basically of the Horrific Visions. I just felt like it's just never enough. Sanity was running out, so basically the timer of sanity at which the sanity was ticking down was not allowing me to confidently push for 4 chest clears or for full clears. Like, I don't know. And I decided to try Destro. I have never been Destro before in my life. Destro story for me is similar to what I told you about my Feral Druid. I was always Guardian. I even tried Boomkin ages ago, but Feral I've never been. And then suddenly I discovered Feral, and now it's probably my favorite spec to play. Go figure. I have to say I'm experiencing something similar with Destruction, with Destro. I was able to. I'm sure my opener sucks. I'm sure my talents can be updated. That's why I'm not making this into a full-blown guide on the class. But I am happy to share my opinions with you. And if I, with my skill level, was able to achieve good enough result and good enough performance that I could fully clear Stormwind at this casual item level pretty easily and without Gift of the Titans, then you surely can do just as well as I can. So if nothing else, I hope that this video will encourage you and maybe inspire you to try to give your Warlock a spin, especially if you feel like you are not performing particularly well with the other specs like Demonology. And I do encourage you to try Destruction. So essentially, I went for Cataclysm based build, and as you can see, I am pretty brave here. Also, because I have a food buff, if you noticed, I did have Ghastly Goulash for lunch, and that wonderful buff that allows me to up my sustainability against the mobs. Basically, I become a lot more tanky. And as you know, Warlocks, they also have a few spec into Demon Skin. They also have semi-passively accumulating shield basically around them. So to be honest with you, I feel very tanky. My pet picks up a couple of ads here and there. I don't even think my pet in this particular case is doing much damage itself. I did not bother to take a look, but you see my DPS is shown to you there. At this item level, of course it's an AoE pool, I understand, but pushing 80,000 DPS, sometimes it will be, you will notice that I push into 100,000 DPS. It's not too shabby. It's nothing to write home about perhaps, but at the same time, at this item level, guys, I was very positively, very pleasantly surprised, and that made my runs, made my discovery of Destro spec very pleasant. Yeah, I can highly recommend this. So obviously blue liquids in this run are the positive liquids for me. I did get the run was fairly sloppy. There are moments like this where I get stuck in a couple of things. I am using the odd chimera that I just discovered somewhere in my, I don't know, I have not played this spec for a long time. So when I switched to the destruction spec, obviously this Chimera was somewhere there stashed from a long time ago. It's not even my normally preferred mount, not the more mobile, more nimble kind of mount. So that's why I got stuck in a couple of places. Doesn't matter. As you can see, general approach is to round up the mobs and AoE them down. How unsurprising and how how common. I make no apologies for that. It's a good tactic. It works really well, especially if you have the food buff that keeps you alive, and especially if sometimes I do use the, I forgot the name of the temporary cooldown, that like demonic skin or something. I use it to mitigate the damage if I know that a huge crowd is behind me and they're coming my way. Um, Other than that, I did lose cranial defibrillation to something that would seem fairly odd and would seem to you fairly sloppy. I think I didn't pay attention to one of those eyes, the stalk eyes, somewhere there in the mage district further later in this run. And I think that that is what has taken my cranial defibrillation. I was surprised that it actually managed to bring my health down enough, and it wasn't from sanity loss. It was from pure health loss, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But do pay attention. We will start talking about Torghast in a second, so I'll just let you, with this information given to you, I'll just let you enjoy the rest of this run. Overall, all I can say once again is that the run felt very manageable, surprisingly manageable. I was very tentative without having Gift of the Titans, and without me being even a very confident with this spec, with this I'm not going to say class because I do play Warlock, but spec is definitely not known to me. That's why I probably make some fairly obvious mistakes that you guys can see, and that I encourage you to tell me about in the comments down below if you play a Destro Warlock. If you see something that could improve my performance fairly easily or would make things more smooth, yeah, please let me know. Maybe I'm pulling the wrong way, maybe I'm opening the wrong way. I'm not making this into a guide, but I make it into a feedback and recommendation. Feedback to casuals like me: Destro is worth your time. Now, on to Torghast. So Blizzard, like literally day or two after I published that other video about Torghast, which I was, having a lot of fun speculating about and speaking to you guys about, they published some more information, basically confirming some of the presumptions that we made based on the discoveries of Wowhead, but at the same time revealing some more information, explaining what, for example, anima powers are, or explaining exactly how Phantasma works. So in this video I thought, instead of continuing to ramble about the run through Stormwind, you've seen already dozens and dozens of videos on my channel that talk about Horrific Vision runs on different alts. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, but this is your cup of tea, this is your chance to show your support and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Let's speak about Torghast. So Jailer, obviously the big bad Jailer, who Sylvanas seems to be in cahoots with. Jailer is the boss of Torghast. I don't know if you realized that. I did not. I didn't know if he's the boss of the Maw in Shadowlands. I didn't know if he's just the big bad, but turns out that he actually, well, he's a jailer as well. I guess it was fairly obvious in the name. It didn't register with me. I didn't realize that jailer is the boss of Torghast, the Tower of the Damned, where all the souls are locked for eternity, whatever. Okay, we will work out with the story when it gets properly revealed to us. I'm also deliberately not focusing on that part of revelations, whatever Blizzard is posting or whatever people are talking about, because I don't want to spoil myself too much or get too much into it. I want to experience it when the game gets released. Now, at the moment, they're testing only a couple of areas, I suppose, of Torghast. They specifically talk about Scaldus Halls and Fracture Chambers, that each one has its own specific set of enemies, or kind of somehow triangulated set of NPCs and mini bosses associated with that. Unsurprising, that's cool. It's like mini dungeons inside of a dungeon, I guess. They confirm that Torghast is a randomly generated and always ever-changing experience, that you cannot rely on your memory. It's not going to be like this. It's not going to be like a Horrific Vision, where we, first of all, have all been in Ogrimmar, have all been in Stormwind. We cannot be surprised by this, right? Well, Torghast is going to be ever-changing. You cannot simply learn that you need to turn left and then turn right, and that's most optimal way to run through this. Torghast is going to be always changing, procedurally generating. We knew that. They confirmed it. Great. They are only opening right now, and I don't think that Torghast is yet available in alpha, but it sounds like it will be within a week or whatever. They're only opening a few classes for testing. I'll be keeping my eyes on what people say about Death Knight and Warlock, because I'm interested in both. Sorry, Demon Hunter and Warlock, because they are included, I believe, in the first handful of classes that they want to test. They're saying that they are only testing those handful of classes because each one of those classes has its own anima powers, and we will talk about anima powers in a second. They obviously don't want to spread too little butter on too much bread, and they want to focus feedback on anima powers for those few handful of classes. That's understandable. That's cool. Fine by me. Sounds great. Now, anima powers. Apparently, unsurprisingly, anima powers are some empowerments of your abilities and of class abilities and of your covenant abilities that are, excuse me, my throat always gets dry when I do these unscripted little rants for you guys. Um, so anima powers are temporary improvements. They are only available to us during the run. Doesn't surprise us. That's what we expected. Once again, it was confirmed. Anima powers can be discovered apparently in phylacteries, in some other places, chests potentially, or whatever treasures that you discover through the Torghast as you go. But they also can be purchased from a vendor. That vendor, I assume, and I understand from the quick description, from the quick write-up, I understand that vendor could be randomly found in the like encountered as some traveling merchant. Let's put it simply, type of stuff inside of Torghast. No idea what he's doing there, because clearly the place is dangerous. And the currency that that vendor will accept, the currency is that phantasma that we talked about in the previous video. I thought that Phantasma is going to be similar to Coalescing Visions. I thought that Phantasma is evidently going to be a currency, but I thought that Phantasma is going to have some value outside of Torghast. You obtain Phantasma, and then somehow it allows you to permanently increase the powers, whatever you go into Torghast next time, and you have these powers. So I thought it's going to be something similar to Coalescing Visions or Corrupted Mementos, perhaps. So something that gives you more or less permanent improvements, like we're experiencing right now. Either we're earning Coalescing Visions to buy a vessel of Horrific Visions to enter a Horrific Vision, or we are buying new talents from Mother's Archives, right? Well, it sounds like Phantasma is going to be a currency only available and resettable inside of Torghast. So we will be accumulating it inside of Torghast during the run, buying some anima powers, empowering ourselves during the run, and then when we exit Torghast, all of our anima powers are gone, and all of our Phantasma is reset as well, is gone. That is what I understand, unless I misread something. Okay, let me know in the comments if you even agree with this kind of build, with this kind of. I understand it's yet to be all tested. They are all in early alpha phase of testing. It all will be changed, whatever. But at the same time, You can either agree or disagree or have feelings about how the currently proposed implementation sits with you. What I think about it? Well, maybe just because I'm already slightly skewed towards how horrific visions work, and no, I don't think everything is great and peachy, but I do think that when I earn something, like when I get corrupted mementos and I unlock some Mother's Archives talents, and even when I get coalescing visions and I have now a few of the vessels of horrific visions in my bags, I know that they're sitting there waiting to be used and stuff like that. I feel better about this. I feel like there is some sense of permanent achievement that I've done on this character who has perhaps a certain talent that I unlocked and it's there always. I walk into a horrific vision tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and I have that talent working for me straight away. I think I like that. So it remains to be seen exactly how they implement this. But if it's literally anima powers get reset completely to zero every time you exit Torghast, all your earnings of Phantasma get reset completely to zero when you exit Torghast, and you have to start from ground zero every single time, completely naked. I don't know. I don't know if it sits well with me, but I do need to see how it plays. I do need to hear people's feedback. I obviously form my own opinion, but overall, look, at the moment, all we can do is speculate. All we can do is compare what they tell us and what is data mined with this, what we have right now in front of us. And that's the discussion I also encourage with my regulars and with my new friends here on this channel in the comments. That's why I keep telling you guys, engage, let's talk, because I want to run this as a friendly, active club of horrific vision runners, Torghast enthusiasts, and people who genuinely have opinions and would like to share them. Now, talking about the most important part of this whole thing, without stretching it too far, this video, it is about accessibility and how Torghast how long Torghast will allow us to stay within. They say that it's not timer based because with some allowances, I guess we can agree that sanity system, the one that's slowly drained, yeah, could be seen as a timer of sorts. That can, of course, be affected by negative effects, and somebody can drain it faster, speed up the timer, yeah? Bear with me. So in Torghast, they say there is no timer. Well, technically speaking, there is none. There is no timer here either, technically speaking. But the duration of our stay within Torghast will be determined by the number of deaths that we have there. The more we die, and it is not being told right now what's even the baseline. Like 3 times you die, 2 times you die, 50 times you die? Doubtful. The more times you die, at some point, once you died a few times, you alert some unkillable being is alerted to your presence, and that unkillable being that has a name Taragru, whatever, that Taragru spawns and starts marching from the start of Torghast as the dungeon towards the end or wherever you are. Presumably it's reasonably linear, or it finds its way to you, otherwise it wouldn't be a system, otherwise what's the point, right? And once it finds you, it kills you. Apparently it is unkillable, which also makes it, well, kind of a non-negotiable thing, but it's in a cheeky way, which means nothing at the moment. In a narrative that they offered us, it is suggested that it can be slowed down. So you probably could win a few minutes to yourself even when Taragru spawned and started walking towards you to kill you. You can probably win a few minutes, stun it somehow, put it to sleep, and go and do a bit more and progress a bit further. Presumably, right? Do I like this implementation? I have not seen it in action. I am fully aware of this, all disclaimers aside, but no, I don't. I don't like. I think this is where I lose my, unless I already just did. I think that one that I left in the distance, I think it makes me here, right here. Yep, I just lost my cranial defibrillation because I underestimated how much damage that thing, that eye stalk, when left unchecked, it will actually inflict on me. I think that was the biggest mistake of this run that I made. In case you wanted it pointed out, sorry, had to point it out. Now that whole thing with that Taragru thing, okay, it's not a timer, but because you're doing stuff and because you will be exposed to danger all the time, eventually you will have to die. So it's not a timer, but it is a little bit of a limitation, another limitation of your stay there. And I appreciate that there probably needs to be some. They probably cannot just let us live there. I get it. I get it. Nothing is being said, at least in this article, at least from what I've seen, nothing is being said about jailer's keys that I thought in the previous video from the data mined strings. Yeah, I thought would mean access to the tower, similar to Vessels of Horrific Visions. I want to know, how do we gain access to the tower? And if those keys easily could not mean access to the tower. They could mean access to the wings within the tower. They could mean access to other areas within the tower. It's possible. Maybe they will just let us access basic areas of Torghast whenever we want, like literally just walk in. But then you have to work within, get anima, get phantasma, and maybe buy those jailer's keys into the wings of Torghast. Who knows? I probably would be more okay with that type of implementation than you just cannot enter Torghast at will. Like, I'd prefer if they let me get in whenever I want, at least at a basic level. Now, from again what I read and what I understand so far, the only permanent impact to your world, to your life in World of Warcraft as a character from your interaction with Torghast, aside from just having fun, is going to be the fact that at some point you do reach high enough levels or deep enough levels, well, probably high enough levels because it's a tower we're talking about, where you uncover legendary chests, and those legendary chests will contain some parts or ingredients or whatever is necessary to start forging your legendaries. Apparently some mysterious sage is going to be helping us with forging those legendaries. Obviously they will have recipes. They will say, oh, you need 3 of those or 5 of those, and you will be looking for those legendary chests to bring them these recipes. Apparently we will be able to choose what kind of legendary we are forging. So not just like you have to create a ring or you have to create a cloak, which is great. I think the choice is fantastic. If you're a tank, you might want one thing, and if you are a rogue, you might want a dagger. Hopefully they will let us do weapons, but I would be very surprised if they do. I bet weapons were a one-off thing of Legion. I don't think that we will ever be as lucky anymore to be able to forge a legendary or anywhere close weapon. I think it will be a piece of equipment. That's what I think, rather than a weapon. But that's beside the point. That's a side note kind of there. What else? That's about it, guys. That's all they've revealed. So some of our data mined speculation based findings were proven right based on what they just said. I'm sure as the system enters the first round of iteration of kind of testing and feedback that they appear to be listening to, at least they seem to be presenting themselves like they are looking forward to the feedback this time around, and they are putting extra effort to make sure that we are being heard, which is great. We are happy. Oh yes, time for a screenshot. I always, as you know, that's my thing. I always find a good spot and then I take a few screenshots, and they're being used in the thumbnails of these videos. That's just what happens to be now a practice of what I do. So I am looking forward to Torghast, very much so. As you can imagine, the whole channel is sort of built around the staple content of Horrific Visions, and Torghast is as close to Horrific Visions as we're going to get in Shadowlands, obviously. I was very excited, if you haven't seen the previous video, speculation about another hinted system of adventures, the one that might be auto battler mode mini game within a game that comes from a revamp of followers and missions table system. Very, very excited about the possibilities of what that could mean, and keeping my ear to the ground, making sure that all of that information doesn't pass me. Yes, I would love to be in alpha, but I'm not yet, so this is all I can do. More videos like this where I'm doing Horrific Vision full clears on my alts are coming to you as always, because I still am enjoying them. I'm enjoying interacting with you guys, showing you some more stuff. Seems like you don't mind overlapping content like this, because I'm doing it because I don't want to create two separate videos, and I think I'm saving you the time by offering you this, and at the same time talking about something else that interests me and hopefully interests you as far as Shadowlands Alpha is concerned. And that's about it. So what remains to be seen here? Maybe final few words about this run, because we're almost at the end. I might as well keep talking rather than just stop right now. Um, Main things that I haven't accounted for is, for example, I'm usually on the builds of my Warlock, on the specializations of my Warlock and how I configure the buttons. I usually use the not death coil, but just completely blanking out right now, forgetting the name of the spell that's under number 4 right now, the one that is horrifying and horrifying the target, sending them into a horror rush and healing me a tiny bit, just completely forgetting it right now. I usually use it as an interrupt. And in Destro spec, I kind of ignored it, and it didn't work as an interrupt on Illyria. It didn't work as an interrupt on Umbric. That's why I was polymorphed. It's not because I did not see it, and it's not because I wasn't tapping it. It's because turns out it didn't work on them as interrupt. They're immune to horror. That's why they didn't stop casting. Okay, fair enough. That was also a bit of a mission. Aside from that, really enjoyed Destro. Highly recommended to you guys. Didn't get anything good from this run, but more good runs coming to you very soon. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.